What is up, you patrons and great ones? Welcome back to my Patreon. This is going to be the first ever after show interview with the guest. Now, this happened on John's show on Wednesday. We both asked a couple questions. Didn't have to be serious, but could be. And we had Ali and we had Socka on talking great philosophy. And I think we had a pretty good after show, and this is Patreon exclusive. In a couple months, I might put it on the page, but for now, this is just you guys. Might do like Utah Outcast does in a 2 or 3 months, then throw it on YouTube so people know what they're missing on Patreon. But you guys are here right now. You're the only ones that's going to be able to see this. And I did mess it up for like the first 45 seconds. I had it on the wrong scene in OBS, so just bear with it through the first 45 seconds, and then it switches and you can see us talking. Hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you for your support. I'll see you guys. What's up, patrons? Welcome to the after show Patreon exclusive. Just a real quick random questions for the guest of the shows. Tonight's I'm on John's show, so John gets to ask questions. 2 questions, and I'm going to ask 2 questions. Can be stupid, can be serious. Go, John.
All right, well, here's my serious question. We have discussions like this all the time. And Ali, if you could answer first, and then Sokka give your answer. If people in the audience want to learn more about these topics after we discuss them, what is the best resource or resources that they should utilize to learn more about these topics?
Well, I'm one of those people who will annoyingly direct you to the texts themselves quite often. It's generally best to dive right in. You could potentially pick up like a Philosophy 101 type textbook or take a class on ethics, but my experience as an autodidact might color my viewpoint a bit, but I learned most of what I learned by reading very good, heavily footnoted translations of things like Nicomachean ethics, of, the various Stoics. Like I've read bits of Chrysippus and of Heracles and Epictetus and, Seneca. Marcus Aurelius can go fuck himself. But
oh, wow.
But if you just dive into it, if you really want to get started and you're of geeky mind, the and philosophy series that Wiley puts out can be a really good, entertaining starting point. They have everything from Breaking Bad in philosophy to I think they've got Dungeons and Dragons in philosophy as well, Doctor Who in philosophy, etc., where they examine various situations in these intellectual properties from a philosophical viewpoint and sort of give you an idea of what text to then go pursue afterwards. Like if they start talking about Hume, you could then go dive into Hume, or if you get particularly fascinated about, Stoicism or virtue ethics, it'll direct you, they'll often quote texts and cite things in the back that you can then go on and explore. But really, it's best to pick something that you're interested in and just sort of dive in.
And Sokka?
Yeah, I mean, I started off with like Bertrand Russell, just the problems of philosophy, and from there, just branch out into the things that I found fascinating, with that, and there's I try to go to if it's a topic I really like, I'll try to go to the original texts on it. Especially when you get into the classical philosophy. But there are resources out there, there are the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy online, as well as the what's the other one, IEP. I can't remember what it stands for. But those are good because they give you kind of a brief overview, as well as references and sources you can go to. There's also, just like there's science communicators out there. There's a couple philosophy communicators out there that break this stuff down as well. Carneades.org is an absolutely amazing one, as well as there's another guy that I used to like. He doesn't do, he still makes some videos, but they're a little more sporadic, and his name is Kane. Hi, sweetheart. Kane B. It's Kane, and then space letter B. They're both really good for communicating these ideas as well, if you want to just listen to something in the background. And then just on top of that, just to engage in more discussions.
Yeah. That's where I've learned a lot of my stuff is like talking to all you folks. And just real quick, before I go to my silly question, what was that one book you recommended me a while ago? It was some Frenchman. It was a book you've talked about a lot, and I can't remember the guy's name. Do you remember, Socka? Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah. It's not a classical book. The guy's actually a modern philosopher who I believe still teaches to this day. But the guy's name is Lawrence Bonjour.
Bonjour.
And, yeah, and he deals with a lot in epistemology. And what I like about him is that he's kind of wrote like the modern kind of like textbook on different epistemic frameworks and problems of epistemology, and they're both absolutely amazing.
If you want another layperson piece, there's a book called Why Do We Think What We Think that lays out some very intriguing sort of... it's got a quiz at the beginning. It's very interactive where it lays out a bunch of statements where you need to, true agree or disagree. And then as you go through the book, it deals with the various paradoxes that can come up if you agree with one and disagree with another or vice versa, where they don't look like they're, representing the same philosophical frameworks of values, but they do. And so that's another really great starting point, I think, for a lot of people. It references a bunch of different thinking systems, and it can get you into the more direct text later on.
And then the last one I would suggest, actually, the last one would also be getting into Hume. I find is really good too, because Hume's skepticism is, I think, like,
or Kant if you hate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, those are just good resources as well, because it kind of lays like a foundation for a little bit more of like the modern philosophical viewpoints.
And just so you know, Patreons, Aliakai was referring to Kant. She didn't call Socka a cunt. All right. So my silly question for you two, without qualification, just a one-word answer: Marvel or DC? Aliakai?
Valiant.
What?
Dark Horse.
All right, Nakasuchi.
All right. Wow, those were good answers. I think your silly question is better than mine. Mine might both be silly questions. My first question is kind of along the lines of John's, but not. Just one simple answer. You can say why or why not if you want to. What is the best book ever written?
Oh, good gods, you're making me pick one. I'm an author. This is
Just
torment,
one.
Knocker.
Just one. I would. It's easy for me. It's Clive Barker's A Magica, but that's me.
It would have to be Good Omens. Like, it is the absolute perfect blend of comedy and fantasy and absurdism. Like, it's just Neil Gaiman paired with Terry Pratchett is a match made with the gods, and it was fantastic.
I haven't read it. I'll have to read it. All right, Socka.
Oh man, this is such a tough one. There's so many really good answers I can give that just make me sound smart, But at the end of the day, just for pure kind of enjoyability, I like James Clavell. I love Shogun. That was a great book, and I've read that book like probably a dozen times.
It's another one I haven't read. I've heard the name of the author. I just haven't read them yet. So I'm going to have to read both of those. That's basically why I asked the question is I need new books to read.
Well, let me tell you about Shogun, okay? It's what it is it deals with, it's a historical fiction.
I love those.
Based loosely on like real people, real events, and so it takes place in the would have been the 17th century of when the two major kind of like naval powers out there, or like naval trading powers out there, were countries like the Netherlands and the Portuguese. And at this point in time, the Portuguese had the
Socka, this is a summary, not a dissertation.
Yeah. I know. I'm almost done.
Get out of here too.
Okay. At this time, the Portuguese were the only ones with access to the Japanese islands, and this is a story of a English pilot aboard a Dutch vessel that washes ashore in Japan, and it's all about the East meets West kind of his integration into Japanese culture, and it's a brilliant book.
Yeah, I knew we were in trouble when Naka prefaced his question with, "Just give a quick answer."
Well, I said they could say why or why not, but I'm interested. Like both of those books sound intriguing.
So Good Omens, I can do like a 3-sentence summary of Good Omens. Effectively, the Antichrist and the future Christ baby get swapped by an incompetent angel and an incompetent demon who are best friends since the beginning of time. That is, and it's basically a mockery of the apocalypse, and it's fucking brilliant.
Oh wait, shit! I haven't read the book, but I saw the series. It was a Amazon Prime series.
Really?
Yeah, the book is in some ways funnier than the series, but I have to say they could not have cast better for it. I'll just say that.
I'll have to check it out. All right, so silly question is milkshakes or malts? I don't know, Allie, can you have either?
Honestly, well, I mean, I can have a vegan version of them, but I've got a mild allergy to dairy. So the answer would probably be milkshakes because I can make vegan milkshakes. I don't know if it's possible to make a vegan malt.
You're missing out.
Socka?
I would have to say probably milkshakes, because
smart people are weird.
It makes sense when you put it in perspective, because like my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, "It's better than yours." Damn right, it's better than yours. I can teach you, but I'd have to charge.
Classic Socka answer. I think Socka just like fucking instituted that I'll have to do the whole Utah Outcast things. After a while, I gotta put this on the channel just so people can see that answer.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, it's like much like happens in these discussions. If he hadn't gone there, I was about to.
Honestly, I refrained from doing so just out of a sense of propriety and the fact that we've also been here for 10 minutes when it was supposed to be 2.
Sorry.
Perfect, man. Perfect. Thank you guys so much.